The cheetah, Acinonyx jubatus, is a large cat and the fastest land animal. It has a tawny to creamy white or pale buff fur that is marked with evenly spaced, solid black spots. The head is small and rounded, with a short snout and black tear-like facial streaks. It reaches 67 to 94 centimeters, 26 to 37 in, at the shoulder, and the head and body length is between 1.1 and 1.5 m, 3 feet 7 in and 4 feet 11 in. Adults weigh between 21 and 72 kilograms, 46 and 159 pounds. The cheetah is capable of running at 93 to 104 kilometers per hour, 58 to 65 miles per hour. It has evolved specialized adaptations for speed, including a light build, long thin legs and a long tail. The cheetah was first described in the late 18th century. 4 subspecies are recognized today that are native to Africa and central Iran. An African subspecies was introduced to India in 2022. It is now distributed mainly in small, fragmented populations in northwestern, eastern and southern Africa and central Iran. It lives in a variety of habitats such as savannas in the Serengeti, arid mountain ranges in the Sahara, and hilly desert terrain. The cheetah lives in 3 main social groups: females and their cubs, male coalitions, and solitary males. While females lead a nomadic life searching for prey in large home ranges, males are more sedentary and instead establish much smaller territories in areas with plentiful prey and access to females. The cheetah is active during the day, with peaks during dawn and dusk. It feeds on small to medium-sized prey, mostly weighing under 40 kilograms 88 pounds, and prefers medium-sized ungulates such as impala, springbok and Thompson's gazelles. The cheetah typically stalks its prey within 60 to 100 m, 200 to 330 feet, before charging towards it, trips it during the chase and bites its throat to suffocate it to death. It breeds throughout the year. After a gestation of nearly 3 months, females give birth to a litter of 3 or 4 cubs. Cheetah cubs are highly vulnerable to predation by other large carnivores. They are weaned at around 4 months and are independent by around 20 months of age. The cheetah is threatened by habitat loss, conflict with humans, poaching and high susceptibility to diseases. The global cheetah population was estimated in 2021 at 6,517, it is listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. It has been widely depicted in art, literature, advertising, and animation. It was tamed in ancient Egypt and trained for hunting ungulates in the Arabian Peninsula and India. It has been kept in zoos since the early 19th century. The vernacular name cheetah is derived from. This in turn comes from Sanskrit, chitrayat, meaning variegated, adorned or painted. In the past, the cheetah was often called hunting leopard because they could be tamed and used for coursing. The generic name Acinonyx probably derives from the combination of 2 Greek words, akinetos, meaning unmoved or motionless, and onyx, meaning nail or hoof. A rough translation is immobile nails, a reference to the cheetah's limited ability to retract its claws. A similar meaning can be obtained by the combination of the Greek prefix a, implying a lack of, and kineo, meaning to move or to set in motion. The specific name jubatus is Latin for crested, having a mane. A few old generic names such as Canalurus and Cynofelis allude to the similarities between the cheetah and canids. In 1777, Johann Christian Daniel von Schreiber described the cheetah based on a skin from the Cape of Good Hope and gave it the scientific name Felis jubatus. Joshua Brooks proposed the generic name Acinonyx in 1828. In 1917, Reginald Innes Pocock placed the cheetah in a subfamily of its own, Acinonychini, given its striking morphological resemblance to the greyhound and significant deviation from typical felid features. The cheetah was classified in Felinae in later taxonomic revisions. In the 19th and 20th centuries, several cheetah zoological specimens were described, some were proposed as subspecies. A South African specimen with notably dense fur was proposed as Felis linea, by Philip Sclater in 1877 and became known as the woolly cheetah. Its classification as a species was mostly disputed. There has been considerable confusion in the nomenclature of the cheetah and leopard, Pantheropardius, as authors often confused the two. Some considered hunting leopards an independent species, or equal to the leopard. The cheetah's closest relatives are the cougar, Puma concolor, and the jaguarundi, Herpalurus jaguarundi. Together, these three species form the puma lineage, one of the 8 lineages of the extant felids. The puma lineage diverged from the rest 6.7 Maya. The sister group of the puma lineage is a clade of smaller Old World cats that includes the genera Felis, Odocolobus, and Prionalurus 30. The oldest cheetah fossils, excavated in eastern and southern Africa, date to 3.5 to 3 Maya. The earliest known specimen from South Africa is from the lowermost deposits of the Silberberg Grotto, Sterkfontein. Though incomplete, these fossils indicate forms larger but less cursorial than the modern cheetah. The first occurrence of the modern species Aegyptus in Africa may come from Cooper's D, a site in South Africa dating back to 1.5 to 1.4 Ma, during the Calabrian stage. Fossil remains from Europe are limited to a few Middle Pleistocene specimens from Hunsheim, Austria, and Mosbach Sands, Germany. Cheetah-like cats are known from as late as 10,000 years ago from the Old World. The giant cheetah, Apardinensis, significantly larger and slower compared to the modern cheetah, occurred in Eurasia and eastern and southern Africa in the Villafranchian period roughly 3.8 to 1.9 Maya. In the Middle Pleistocene a smaller cheetah, A. intermedius, ranged from Europe to China. The modern cheetah appeared in Africa around 1.9 Maya. Its fossil record is restricted to Africa. Extinct North American cheetah-like cats had historically been classified in Felis, Puma, or Acinonyx. Two such species, F. studeri and F. trumani, were considered to be closer to the puma than the cheetah, despite their close similarities to the latter. Noting this, paleontologist Daniel Adams proposed Maracinonyx, a new subgenus under Acinonyx, in 1979 for the North American cheetah-like cats. This was later elevated to genus rank. Adams pointed out that North American and Old World cheetah-like cats may have had a common ancestor, and Acinonyx might have originated in North America instead of Eurasia. However, subsequent research has shown that Maracinonyx is phylogenetically closer to the cougar than the cheetah. The similarities to cheetahs have been attributed to parallel evolution. The three species of the puma lineage may have had a common ancestor during the Miocene, roughly 8.25 Maya. Some suggest that North American cheetahs possibly migrated to Asia via the Bering Strait, then dispersed southward to Africa through Eurasia at least 100,000 years ago. Some authors have expressed doubt over the occurrence of cheetah-like cats in North America, and instead suppose the modern cheetah to have evolved from Asian populations that eventually spread to Africa. The cheetah is thought to have experienced two population bottlenecks that greatly decreased the genetic variability in populations. One occurred about 100,000 years ago that has been correlated to migration from North America to Asia, and the second 10,000 to 12,000 years ago in Africa, possibly as part of the late Pleistocene extinction event. The diploid number of chromosomes in the cheetah is 38, the same as in most other felids. The cheetah was the first felid observed to have unusually low genetic variability among individuals, which has led to poor breeding in captivity, increased spermatozoal defects, high juvenile mortality and increased susceptibility to diseases and infections. A prominent instance was the deadly feline coronavirus outbreak in a cheetah breeding facility of Oregon in 1983, which had a mortality rate of 60%, higher than that recorded for previous episodics of feline infectious peritonitis in any felid. The remarkable homogeneity in cheetah genes has been demonstrated by experiments involving the major histocompatibility complex, MHC. Unless the MHC genes are highly homogeneous in a population, skin grafts exchanged between a pair of unrelated individuals would be rejected. Skin grafts exchanged between unrelated cheetahs are accepted well and heal, as if their genetic makeup were the same. The low genetic diversity is thought to have been created by two population bottlenecks from about 100,000 years and about 12,000 years ago, respectively. The resultant level of genetic variation is around 0.1 to 4% of average living species, lower than that of Tasmanian devils, Virunga gorillas, Amur tigers, and even highly inbred domestic cats and dogs. Selective retention of gene variants, duplication, has been found in 10 genes candidates to explain energetics and anabolism related to muscle specialization in cheetahs. Regulation of muscle contraction, 5 genes, ADORA1, ADRA1B, CACNA1C, RGS2, SCN5A. Physiological stress response, 2 genes, ADORA1, TAOK2. Negative regulation of catabolic process, 4 genes, APOC3, SUFU, DDIT4, PRA. Potentially harmful mutations have been found in a gene related to spermatogenesis, aka P4. This could explain the high proportion of abnormal sperma in male cheetahs and poor reproductive success in the species. The king cheetah is a variety of cheetah with a rare mutation for cream-colored fur marked with large, blotchy spots and 3 dark, wide stripes extending from the neck to the tail. In Manicaland, Zimbabwe, it was known as Nsufasi and thought to be a cross between a leopard and a hyena. In 1926, Major A. Cooper wrote about a cheetah-like animal he had shot near modern-day Harare, with fur as thick as that of a snow leopard and spots that merged to form stripes. He suggested it could be a cross between a leopard and a cheetah. As more such individuals were observed, it was seen that they had non-retractable claws like the cheetah. In 1927, Pocock described these individuals as a new species by the name of Acinonyx rex, king cheetah. However, in the absence of proof to support his claim, he withdrew his proposal in 1939. Abel Chapman considered it a color morph of the normally spotted cheetah. Since 1927, the king cheetah has been reported 5 more times in the wild in Zimbabwe, Botswana, and northern Transvaal. One was photographed in 1975. In 1981, 2 female cheetahs that had mated with a wild male from Transvaal at the De Wild Cheetah and Wildlife Center, South Africa, gave birth to 1 king cheetah each. Subsequently, more king cheetahs were born at the center. In 2012, the cause of this code pattern was found to be a mutation in the gene for transmembrane aminopeptidase, TUCPEP, the same gene responsible for the striped mackerel versus blotchy classic pattern seen in tabby cats. The appearance is caused by reinforcement of a recessive allele, hence if 2 mating cheetahs are heterozygous carriers of the mutated allele, a quarter of their offspring can be expected to be king cheetahs. The cheetah is a lightly built, spotted cat characterized by a small rounded head, a short snout, black tear-like facial streaks, a deep chest, long thin legs and a long tail. Its slender, canine-like form is highly adapted for speed, and contrasts sharply with the robust build of the genus Panthera. Cheetahs typically reach 67 to 94 centimeters, 26 to 37 in, at the shoulder, and the head and body length is between 1.1 and 1.5 m, 3 feet 7 in and 4 feet 11 in. The weight can vary with age, health, location, sex, and subspecies. Adults typically range between 21 and 72 kilograms, 46 and 159 pounds. Cubs born in the wild weigh 150 to 300 g, 5.3 to 10.6 ounces, at birth, while those born in captivity tend to be larger and weigh around 500 g, 18 ounces. The cheetah is sexually dimorphic, with males larger and heavier than females, but not to the extent seen in other large cats. Females have a much lower body mass index than males. Studies differ significantly on morphological variations among the subspecies. The coat is typically tawny to creamy white or pale buff, darker in the mid-back portion. The chin, throat, and underparts of the legs and the belly are white and devoid of markings. The rest of the body is covered with around 2,000 evenly spaced, oval or round solid black spots, each measuring roughly 3 to 5 centimeters, 1.2 to 2.0 in. Each cheetah has a distinct pattern of spots which can be used to identify unique individuals. Besides the clearly visible spots, there are other faint, irregular black marks on the coat. Newly born cubs are covered in fur with an unclear pattern of spots that gives them a dark appearance, pale white above and nearly black on the underside. The hair is mostly short and often coarse, but the chest and the belly are covered in soft fur. The fur of king cheetahs has been reported to be silky. There is a short, rough mane, covering at least 8 centimeters, 3.1 in, along the neck and the shoulders. This feature is more prominent in males. The mane starts out as a cape of long, loose blue to gray hair in juveniles. Melanistic cheetahs are rare and have been seen in Zambia and Zimbabwe. In 1877 to 1878, Sclatter described 2 partially albino specimens from South Africa. The head is small and more rounded compared to other big cats. Saharan cheetahs have canine-like slim faces. The ears are small, short, and rounded. They are tawny at the base and on the edges and marked with black patches on the back. The eyes are set high and have round pupils. The whiskers, shorter and fewer than those of other felids, are fine and inconspicuous. The pronounced tear streaks, or malar stripes, unique to the cheetah, originate from the corners of the eyes and run down the nose to the mouth. The role of these streaks is not well understood. They may protect the eyes from the sun's glare, a helpful feature as the cheetah hunts mainly during the day, or they could be used to define facial expressions. The exceptionally long and muscular tail, with a bushy white tuft at the end, measures 60 to 80 centimeters, 24 to 31 in. While the first 2/3 of the tail are covered in spots, the final third is marked with 4 to 6 dark rings or stripes. The cheetah is superficially similar to the leopard, which has a larger head, fully retractable claws, rosettes instead of spots, lacks tear streaks and is more muscular. Moreover, the cheetah is taller than the leopard. The serval also resembles the cheetah in physical build, but is significantly smaller, has a shorter tail and its spots fuse to form stripes on the back. The cheetah appears to have evolved convergently with canids in morphology and behavior. It has canine-like features such as a relatively long snout, long legs, a deep chest, tough paw pads and blunt, semi-retractable claws. The cheetah has often been likened to the greyhound, as both have similar morphology and the ability to reach tremendous speeds in a shorter time than other mammals, but the cheetah can attain much higher maximum speeds. Sharply contrasting with the other big cats in its morphology, the cheetah shows several specialized adaptations for prolonged chases to catch prey at some of the fastest speeds reached by land animals. Its light, streamlined body makes it well suited to short, explosive bursts of speed, rapid acceleration, and an ability to execute extreme changes in direction while moving at high speed. The large nasal passages, accommodated well due to the smaller size of the canine teeth, ensure fast flow of sufficient air, and the enlarged heart and lungs allow the enrichment of blood with oxygen in a short time. This allows cheetahs to rapidly regain their stamina after a chase. During a typical chase, their respiratory rate increases from 60 to 150 breaths per minute. The cheetah has a fast heart rate, averaging 126 to 173 beats per minute at resting without arrhythmia. Moreover, the reduced viscosity of the blood at higher temperatures, common in frequently moving muscles, could ease blood flow and increase oxygen transport. While running, in addition to having good traction due to their semi-retractable claws, cheetahs use their tail as a rudder-like means of steering that enables them to make sharp turns, necessary to outflank antelopes which often change direction to escape during a chase. The protracted claws increase grip over the ground, while rough paw pads make the sprint more convenient over tough ground. The limbs of the cheetah are longer than what is typical for other cats its size, the thigh muscles are large, and the tibia and fibula are held close together, making the lower legs less likely to rotate. This reduces the risk of losing balance during runs, but compromises the cat's ability to climb trees. The highly reduced clavicle is connected through ligaments to the scapula, whose pendulum-like motion increases the stride length and assists in shock absorption. The extension of the vertebral column can add as much as 76 centimeters, 30 in, to the stride length. Muscle tissue has been analyzed in the cheetah and it has been found that there are little differences in type I9 muscle fibers concentration, type I9 MHC concentration, as well anaerobic LDH enzyme activity between sexes, in contrast to humans where women had type I9 MHC and LDH activity much lower than men, although type I9 muscle fibers concentration were similar. Cheetah males had larger cross-sectional area fibers. The cheetah resembles the smaller cats in cranial features, and in having a long and flexible spine, as opposed to the stiff and short one in other large felids. The roughly triangular skull has light, narrow bones and the sagittal crest is poorly developed, possibly to reduce weight and enhance speed. The mouth cannot be opened as widely as in other cats given the shorter length of muscles between the jaw and the skull. A study suggested that the limited retraction of the cheetah's claws may result from the earlier truncation of the development of the middle phalanx bone in cheetahs. The cheetah has a total of 30 teeth. The dental formula is 3.1.3.1.3.1.2.1. The sharp, narrow carnassial molars are larger than those of leopards and lions, suggesting the cheetah can consume a larger amount of food in a given time period. The small, flat canines are used to bite the throat and suffocate the prey. A study gave the bite force quotient, BFQ, of the cheetah as 119, close to that for the lion, 112, suggesting that adaptations for a lighter skull may not have reduced the power of the cheetah's bite. Unlike other cats, the cheetah's canines have no gap or diastema behind them when the jaws close, as the top and bottom cheek teeth show extensive overlap. This enables the upper and lower teeth to effectively tear through the meat of their prey. The slightly curved claws, shorter and straighter than those of other cats, lack a protective sheath and are partly retractable. The claws are blunt due to lack of protection, but the large and strongly curved toe claw is remarkably sharp. Cheetahs have a high concentration of nerve cells arranged in a band in the center of the eyes, a visual streak, the most efficient among felids. This significantly sharpens the vision and enables the cheetah to swiftly locate prey against the horizon. The cheetah is unable to roar due to the presence of a sharp-edged vocal fold within the larynx. The cheetah is the world's fastest land animal. Estimates of the maximum speed attained range from 80 to 128 km per hour, 50 to 80 miles per hour. A commonly quoted value is 112 km per hour, 70 miles per hour, recorded in 1957, but this measurement is disputed. In 2012, an 11-year-old cheetah from the Cincinnati Zoo set a world record by running 100 meters 330 feet in 5.95 seconds over a set run, recording a maximum speed of 98 km per hour, 61 miles per hour. Cheetahs equipped with GPS collars hunted at speeds during most of the chase much lower than the highest recorded speed. Their run was interspersed with a few short bursts of a few seconds when they attained peak speeds. The average speed recorded during the high-speed phase was 53.64 km per hour, 33.3 miles per hour, or within the range 41.4 to 65.88 km per hour, 25.7 to 40.9 miles per hour, including error. The highest recorded value was 93.24 km per hour, 57.9 miles per hour. A hunt consists of two phases, an initial fast acceleration phase when the cheetah tries to catch up with the prey, followed by slowing down as it closes in on it, the deceleration varying by the prey in question. The peak linear acceleration observed was 12 m/s superscript 2, twice than 6 m/s superscript 2 of horses and greater than 10 m/s superscript 2 of greyhounds. Cheetahs can accelerate up 3 m/s and decelerate up 4 m/s in a single stride. Speed and acceleration values for a hunting cheetah may be different from those for a non-hunter because while engaged in the chase, the cheetah is more likely to be twisting and turning and may be running through vegetation. The speeds attained by the cheetah may be only slightly greater than those achieved by the pronghorn at 88.5 km per hour 55.0 miles per hour and the springbok at 88 km per hour 55 miles per hour, but the cheetah additionally has an exceptional acceleration. One stride of a galloping cheetah measures 4 to 7 m, 13 to 23 feet, the stride length and the number of jumps increases with speed. During more than half the duration of the sprint, the cheetah has all four limbs in the air, increasing the stride length. Running cheetahs can retain up to 90% of the heat generated during the chase. A 1973 study suggested the length of the sprint is limited by excessive buildup of body heat when the body temperature reaches 40 to 41 degrees Celsius, 104 to 106 degrees Fahrenheit. However, a 2013 study recorded the average temperature of cheetahs after hunts to be 38.6 degrees Celsius 101.5 degrees Fahrenheit, suggesting high temperatures need not cause hunts to be abandoned. The running speed of 71 miles per hour 114 kilometers per hour of the cheetah was obtained as a result of a single run of one individual by dividing the distance traveled for time spent. The run lasted 2.25 seconds and was supposed to have been 73 meters 240 feet long, but was later found to have been 59 meters 194 feet long. It was therefore discredited for a faulty method of measurement. Cheetahs have subsequently been measured at running at a speed of 64 miles per hour 103 kilometers per hour as an average of 3 runs including in opposite direction, for a single individual, over a marked 200 m, 220 yd, course, even starting the run 18 meters 59 feet behind the start line, starting the run already running on the course. Again dividing the distance by time, but this time to determine the maximum sustained speed, completing the runs in an average time of 7 seconds. Being a more accurate method of measurement, this test was made in 1965 but published in 1997 subsequently. With GPS IMU collars, running speed was measured for wild cheetahs during hunts with turns and maneuvers, and the maximum speed recorded was 58 miles per hour 93 kilometers per hour sustained for 1 to 2 seconds. The speed was obtained by dividing the length by the time between footfalls of a stride. Cheetahs can go from 0 to 97 kilometers per hour, 0 to 60 miles per hour, in less than 3 seconds. There are indirect ways to measure how fast a cheetah can run. One case is known of a cheetah that overtook a young male pronghorn. Cheetahs can overtake a running antelope with a 140 m, 150 yd, head start. Both animals were clocked at 80 km per hour 50 miles per hour by speedometer reading while running alongside a vehicle at full speed. Cheetahs can easily capture gazelles galloping at full speed, 70 to 80 km per hour, 43 to 50 miles per hour. The physiological reasons for speed in cheetahs are: small head and long lumbar region of the spine, 36.8% of the presacral vertebral column. A tibia and radius longer than the femur and humerus, with a femorotibial index of 101.9 to 105 and a humeroradial index of 100.1 to 103.3. Elongated and slender long bones of the limbs, especially femur, tibia, humerus, radius, and pelvis, especially the ischium. A cool nose and enlarged respiratory passages that allow it to inhale and exhale more air with each breath, which helps dissipate body heat and absorb more oxygen. A higher concentration of glycolytic fast-twitch muscle fibers than other cats and animals in general. Most of the locomotor muscle mass is concentrated proximally close to the body in shoulders, thighs, and spine, and is reduced in shins and forearms. Long tendons finish off the distal locomotor muscles. Muscular hind limbs form 19.8% of the body mass, whereas the forelimbs form 15.1%. The hamstrings, quadriceps, adductor muscles of the hip and psoas major muscles are especially large. Enlarged bed cells in the motor cortex M1 and innervating muscle fibers, with longer dendrites and more numerous dendritic segments to fit predominant glycolytic fast-twitch muscle fibers. Cheetahs are active mainly during the day, whereas other carnivores such as leopards and lions are active mainly at night. These larger carnivores can kill cheetahs and steal their kills, hence, the diurnal tendency of cheetahs helps them avoid larger predators in areas where they are sympatric, such as the Okavango Delta. In areas where the cheetah is the major predator, such as farmlands in Botswana and Namibia, activity tends to increase at night. This may also happen in highly arid regions such as the Sahara, where daytime temperatures can reach 43 degrees Celsius 109 degrees Fahrenheit. The lunar cycle can also influence the cheetah's routine. Activity might increase on moonlit nights as prey can be sighted easily, though this comes with the danger of encountering larger predators. Hunting is the major activity throughout the day, with peaks during dawn and dusk. Groups rest in grassy clearings after dusk. Cheetahs often inspect their vicinity at observation points such as elevations to check for prey or larger carnivores. Even while resting, they take turns at keeping a lookout. Cheetahs have a flexible and complex social structure and tend to be more gregarious than several other cats, except the lion. Individuals typically avoid one another but are generally amicable. Males may fight over territories or access to females in estrus, and on rare occasions such fights can result in severe injury and death. Females are not social and have minimal interaction with other individuals, barring the interaction with males when they enter their territories or during the mating season. Some females, generally mother and offspring or siblings, may rest beside one another during the day. Females tend to lead a solitary life or live with offspring in undefended home ranges. Young females often stay close to their mothers for life, but young males leave their mother's range to live elsewhere. Some males are territorial, and group together for life, forming coalitions that collectively defend a territory which ensures maximum access to females. This is unlike the behavior of the male lion who mates with a particular group, pride, of females. In most cases, a coalition will consist of brothers born in the same litter who stayed together after weaning, but biologically unrelated males are often allowed into the group. In the Serengeti, 30% of members in coalitions are unrelated males. If a cub is the only male in a litter, he will typically join an existing group, or form a small group of solitary males with 2 or 3 other lone males who may or may not be territorial. In the Kalahari Desert, around 40% of the males live in solitude. Males in a coalition are affectionate toward each other, grooming mutually and calling out if any member is lost. Unrelated males may face some aversion in their initial days in the group. All males in the coalition typically have equal access to kills when the group hunts together, and possibly also to females who may enter their territory. A coalition generally has a greater chance of encountering and acquiring females for mating. However, its large membership demands greater resources than do solitary males. A 1987 study showed that solitary and grouped males have a nearly equal chance of coming across females, but the males in coalitions are notably healthier and have better chances of survival than their solitary counterparts. Unlike many other felids, among cheetahs, females tend to occupy larger areas compared to males. Females typically disperse over large areas in pursuit of prey, but they are less nomadic and roam in a smaller area if prey availability in the area is high. As such, the size of their home range depends on the distribution of prey in a region. In central Namibia, where most prey species are sparsely distributed, home ranges average 554 to 7,063 square kilometers, 214 to 2,727 square miles, whereas in the woodlands of the Finda Game Reserve, South Africa, which have plentiful prey, home ranges are 34 to 157 square kilometers, 13 to 61 square miles, in size. Cheetahs can travel long stretches overland in search of food. A study in the Kalahari Desert recorded an average displacement of nearly 11 kilometers 6.8 miles every day, and walking speeds ranged between 2.5 and 3.8 kilometers per hour, 1.6 and 2.4 miles per hour. Males are generally less nomadic than females, often males in coalitions, and sometimes solitary males staying far from coalitions, established territories. Whether males settle in territories or disperse over large areas forming home ranges depends primarily on the movements of females. Territoriality is preferred only if females tend to be more sedentary, which is more feasible in areas with plenty of prey. Some males, called floaters, switch between territoriality and nomadism depending on the availability of females. A 1987 study showed territoriality depended on the size and age of males and the membership of the coalition. The ranges of floaters averaged 777 square kilometers 300 square miles in the Serengeti to 1,464 square kilometers 565 square miles in central Namibia. In the Kruger National Park, South Africa, territories were much smaller. A coalition of 3 males occupied a territory measuring 126 square kilometers 49 square miles, and the territory of a solitary male measured 195 square kilometers 75 square miles. When a female enters a territory, the males will surround her. If she tries to escape, the males will bite or snap at her. Generally, the female cannot escape on her own. The males themselves leave after they lose interest in her. They may smell the spot she was sitting or lying on to determine if she was in estrus. The cheetah is a carnivore that hunts small to medium-sized prey weighing 20 to 60 kilograms, 44 to 132 pounds, but mostly less than 40 kilograms 88 pounds. Its primary prey is medium-sized ungulates. They are the major component of the diet in certain areas, such as Dama and Dorcas gazelles in the Sahara, impala in the eastern and southern African woodlands, springbok in the arid savannas to the south and Thompson's gazelle in the Serengeti. Smaller antelopes like the common duiker are frequent prey in the southern Kalahari. Larger ungulates are typically avoided, though Nyala, whose males weigh around 120 kilograms 260 pounds, were found to be the major prey in a study in the Finda Game Reserve. In Namibia, cheetahs are the major predators of livestock. The diet of the Asiatic cheetah consists of chinkara, desert hare, goitered gazelle, urial, wild goats, and livestock. In India, cheetahs used to prey mostly on black buck. Prey preferences and hunting success vary with the age, sex, and number of cheetahs involved in the hunt and on the vigilance of the prey. Generally, only groups of cheetahs, coalitions or mother and cubs, will try to kill larger prey. Mothers with cubs especially look out for larger prey and tend to be more successful than females without cubs. Individuals on the periphery of the prey herd are common targets. Vigilant prey which would react quickly on seeing the cheetah are not preferred. Cheetahs are one of the most iconic pursued predators, hunting primarily throughout the day, sometimes with peaks at dawn and dusk. They tend to avoid larger predators like the primarily nocturnal lion. Cheetahs in the Sahara and Masai Mara in Kenya hunt after sunset to escape the high temperatures of the day. Cheetahs use their vision to hunt instead of their sense of smell. They keep a lookout for prey from resting sites or low branches. The cheetah will stalk its prey, trying to conceal itself in cover, and approach as close as possible, often within 60 to 70 m, 200 to 230 feet, of the prey, or even closer for less alert prey. Alternatively, the cheetah can lie hidden in cover and wait for the prey to come nearer. A stalking cheetah assumes a partially crouched posture, with the head lower than the shoulders. It will move slowly and be still at times. In areas of minimal cover, the cheetah will approach within 200 meters 660 feet of the prey and start the chase. The chase typically lasts a minute. In a 2013 study, the length of chases averaged 173 meters 568 feet, and the longest run measured 559 meters 1834 feet. The cheetah can give up the chase if it is detected by the prey early or if it cannot make a kill quickly. Being lightly built, cheetahs lack the raw strength to tackle down the prey, and instead catch the prey by performing a kind of foot sweep by hitting the prey's leg or rump with the forepaw or using the strong claw to knock the prey off its balance. Such tripping during a high-speed chase will cause the prey to fall down hard with much force that sometimes even breaks some of its limbs, and allow the cheetah to then pounce on the fallen and vulnerable prey. Cheetahs can decelerate dramatically towards the end of the hunt, slowing down from 93 km per hour 58 miles per hour to 23 km per hour 14 miles per hour in just 3 strides, and can easily follow any twists and turns the prey makes as it tries to flee. To kill medium to large-sized prey, the cheetah bites the prey's throat to strangle it, maintaining the bite for around 5 minutes, within which the prey succumbs to asphyxiation and stops struggling. A bite on the nape of the neck or the snout, and sometimes on the skull, suffices to kill smaller prey. Cheetahs have an average hunting success rate of 25 to 40%, higher for smaller and more vulnerable prey. Once the hunt is over, the prey is taken near a bush or under a tree. The cheetah, highly exhausted after the chase, rests beside the kill and pants heavily for 5 to 55 minutes. Meanwhile, cheetahs nearby, who did not take part in the hunt, might feed on the kill immediately. Groups of cheetah devour the kill peacefully, though minor noises and snapping may be observed. Cheetahs can consume large quantities of food. A cheetah at the Etosha National Park, Namibia, was found to consume as much as 10 kilograms 22 pounds within 2 hours. However, on a daily basis, a cheetah feeds on around 4 kilograms 8.8 pounds meat. Cheetahs, especially mothers with cubs, remain cautious even as they eat, pausing to look around for fresh prey or for predators who may steal the kill. Cheetahs move their heads from side to side so the sharp carnassial teeth tear the flesh, which can then be swallowed without chewing. They typically begin with the hindquarters, and then progress toward the abdomen and the spine. Ribs are chewed on at the ends, and the limbs are not generally torn apart while eating. Unless the prey is very small, the skeleton is left almost intact after feeding on the meat. Cheetahs might lose up 13 to 14% of their kills to larger and stronger carnivores. To defend itself or its prey, a cheetah will hold its body low to the ground and snarl with its mouth wide open, the eyes staring threateningly ahead and the ears folded backward. This may be accompanied by moans, hisses and growls, and hitting the ground with the forepaws. Cheetahs have rarely been observed scavenging kills. This may be due to vultures and spotted hyena adroitly capturing and consuming heavy carcasses within a short time. Cheetahs appear to have a comparatively higher hunting success rate than other predators. Their success rate for hunting Thomson gazelles is 70%, whereas the success rate of African wild dogs is 57%, of spotted hyenas 33%, and of lions 26%. Their success rate for hunting impalas is 26%, but of African wild dogs only 15.5%. The cheetah breeds throughout the year. Females are polystrous and induced ovulators with an estrous cycle of 12 days on average that can vary from 3 days to a month. They have their first litter at 2 to 3 years of age and can conceive again after 17 to 20 months from giving birth, or even sooner if a whole litter is lost. Males can breed at less than 2 years of age in captivity, but this may be delayed in the wild until the male acquires a territory. A 2007 study showed that females who gave birth to more litters early in their life often died younger, indicating a trade-off between longevity and yearly reproductive success. Urine marking in males can become more pronounced when a female in their vicinity comes into estrus. Males, sometimes even those in coalitions, fight among one another to secure access to the female. Often one male will eventually win dominance over the others and mate with the female, though a female can mate with different males. Mating begins with the male approaching the female, who lies down on the ground. Individuals often chirp, purr or yelp at this time. No courtship behavior is observed. The male immediately secures hold of the female's nape, and copulation takes place. The pair then ignore each other, but meet and copulate a few more times 3 to 5 times a day for the next 2 to 3 days before finally parting ways. After a gestation of nearly 3 months, a litter of 1 to 8 cubs is born, though those of 3 to 4 cubs are more common. Births take place at 20 to 25-minute intervals in a sheltered place such as thick vegetation. The eyes are shut at birth, and open in 4 to 11 days. Newborn cubs might spit a lot and make soft chewing noises. They start walking by 2 weeks. Their nape, shoulders, and back are thickly covered with long bluish-gray hair, called a mantle, which gives them a mohawk-type appearance. This fur is shed as the cheetah grows older. A study suggested that this mane gives a cheetah cub the appearance of a honey badger, and could act as camouflage from attacks by these badgers or predators that tend to avoid them. Compared to other felids, cheetah cubs are highly vulnerable to several predators during the first few weeks of their life. Mothers keep their cubs hidden in dense vegetation for the first 2 months and nurse in the early morning. The mother is extremely vigilant at this stage. She stays within 1 kilometer (0.62 miles) of the lair, frequently visits her cubs, moves them every 5 to 6 days, and remains with them after dark. Despite trying to make minimal noise, she cannot generally defend her litter from predators. Predation is the leading cause of mortality in cheetah cubs. A study showed that in areas with a low density of predators, such as Namibian farmlands, around 70% of the cubs make it beyond the age of 14 months, whereas in areas like the Serengeti National Park, where several large carnivores exist, the survival rate was just 17%. Deaths also occur from starvation if their mothers abandon them, fires, or pneumonia because of exposure to bad weather. Generation length of the cheetah is 6 years. Cubs start coming out of the lair at 2 months of age, trailing after their mother wherever she goes. At this point the mother nurses less and brings solid food to the cubs. They retreat away from the carcass in fear initially, but gradually start eating it. The cubs might purr as the mother licks them clean after the meal. Weaning occurs at 4 to 6 months. To train her cubs in hunting, the mother will catch and let go of live prey in front of her cubs. Cubs' play behavior includes chasing, crouching, pouncing, and wrestling. There is plenty of agility, and attacks are seldom lethal. Playing can improve catching skills in cubs, though the ability to crouch and hide may not develop remarkably. Cubs as young as 6 months try to capture small prey like hares and young gazelles. However, they may have to wait until as long as 15 months of age to make a successful kill on their own. At around 20 months, offspring become independent. Mothers might have conceived again by then. Siblings may remain together for a few more months before parting ways. While females stay close to their mothers, males move farther off. The lifespan of wild cheetahs is 14 to 15 years for females, and their reproductive cycle typically ends by 12 years of age. Males generally live as long as 10 years. In eastern and southern Africa, the cheetah occurs mostly in savannas like the Kalahari and Serengeti. In central, northern, and western Africa, it inhabits arid mountain ranges and valleys. In the harsh climate of the Sahara, it prefers high mountains, which receive more rainfall than the surrounding desert. The vegetation and water resources in these mountains support antelopes. In Iran, it occurs in hilly terrain of deserts at elevations up to 2,000 to 3,000 m, 6,600 to 9,800 feet, where annual precipitation is generally below 100 mm, 3.9 in. The primary vegetation in these areas is thinly distributed shrubs, less than 1 m, 3 feet 3 in, tall. The cheetah inhabits a variety of ecosystems and appears to be less selective in habitat choice than other felids. It prefers areas with greater availability of prey, good visibility, and minimal chances of encountering larger predators. It seldom occurs in tropical forests. It has been reported at the elevation of 4,000 meters (13,000 feet). An open area with some cover, such as diffused bushes, is probably ideal for the cheetah because it needs to stalk and pursue its prey over a distance. This also minimizes the risk of encountering larger carnivores. The cheetah tends to occur in low densities, typically between 0.3 and 3.0 adults per 100 square kilometers (39 square miles). These values are 10 to 30% of those reported for leopards and lions. The cheetah is threatened by several factors, like habitat loss and fragmentation of populations. Habitat loss is caused mainly by the introduction of commercial land use, such as agriculture and industry. It is further aggravated by ecological degradation, like woody plant encroachment, which is common in southern Africa. Moreover, the species apparently requires a sizable area to live in as indicated by its low population densities. Shortage of prey and conflict with other species such as humans and large carnivores are other major threats. The cheetah appears to be less capable of coexisting with humans than the leopard, with 76% of its range consisting of unprotected land. The cheetah is often targeted by farmers and pastoralists who attempt to protect their livestock, especially in Namibia. Illegal wildlife trade and trafficking is another problem in some places, like Ethiopia. Some tribes, like the Maasai people in Tanzania, have been reported to use cheetah skins in ceremonies. Roadkill is another threat, especially in areas where roads have been constructed near natural habitat or protected areas. Cases of roadkill involving cheetahs have been reported from Kalmand, Turan National Park, and Bafq in Iran. The reduced genetic variability makes cheetahs more vulnerable to diseases. However, the threat posed by infectious diseases may be minor, given the low population densities and hence a reduced chance of infection. There are no documented records of lethal attacks on humans by wild cheetahs. However, there have been instances of people being fatally mauled by captive cheetahs. In 2007, a 37-year-old woman from Antwerp was killed by a cheetah in a Belgian zoo after sneaking into its cage outside of visiting hours. In 2017, a 3-year-old child was attacked by a captive cheetah on a farm in Philippolis, South Africa. Despite being airlifted to a hospital in Bloemfontein, the boy died from his injuries.